Welcome to The Blitz, a podcast from Coram Deo Church. The Blitz is all about tackling tough topics head-on at full speed. Are you ready? Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time of the day it is that you happen to be checking out this podcast. My name is Pastor John. I'm lead pastor of Coram Deo Church, and I will be your host today, again, on The Blitz. We've got a juicy one here for you today. We're talking about Christians and voting and bloody ballots. And here's the question: can Christians vote for Democrats? Specifically in this 2022 midterm election, can Christians vote for Democrats? Now, I want to give you a little bit of background to this issue. In the past, it has been argued or suggested by some that Christians should not be single-issue voters, meaning there can be a political platform, and this is almost always argued in the direction of Christians voting for Democrats. So you can have a political platform, a Democratic platform, and there can be issues in that platform that a Christian must be morally opposed to, and of course that issue being abortion. However, there can be other issues on that platform that a Christian may wholeheartedly support, and so Christians should not take a single issue, such as abortion, and make that a disqualifying issue for the platform as a whole. So people will say, don't be a single issue voter. And one of the big problems with that approach is that it while being principally true, right? You're not going to find a political platform that you completely agree with. And so there's always going to be issues that you are opposed to or are at least uncomfortable with. And that wouldn't in and of itself necessarily disqualify an entire political platform or prohibit you from voting for it. So we can accept the principle for that. But in this instance of abortion, what that does is it radically minimizes the evil and the horror of abortion. And to demonstrate that, let me just put it this way. Let's say that there was a political platform that you were favorable towards, okay? You didn't embrace everything, but a good deal of the things you thought were, generally speaking, good issues, good positions, whatever, okay? And let's also then say that that candidate that was the face of that platform that was running for the presidency, let's say that that person was a blatant, overt, public racist. So I don't mean that there were accusations of racism, but this person actually was a racist, didn't hide the fact that they were a racist, celebrated their racism, and was promising to codify racism in American law. Okay, so if that was the case, the argument of don't be a single issue voter would be exposed as inadequate, as a bankrupt way to think about politics, because anybody who is holding that position, right, is disqualified. It's just flat out disqualified, has no business being in a position of leadership. And regardless of whatever else you might like about the platform, right, you would have to vote against that person. You would be morally opposed. You would be a single issue voter in that case, right? Is abortion not an issue that deserves that kind of response? We're not talking about saying mean things about people. We're not talking about thinking thoughts. We're talking about murdering unborn children. Okay, so the issue or the argument that you shouldn't be a single issue voter, I think is just completely baloney sausage, if I can say that. It's ridiculous, and it's ridiculous because the issue at hand it's a matter of life and death. We're talking about unborn children having their lives lost. Okay, now in past elections, Christians would have to navigate through that issue of responding to the single issue voter. Okay, you'd have to navigate that. However, this year, you do not have to navigate that, because it is not the Christians who have made abortion the single issue. It is the president, Joe Biden himself, that has made abortion the single issue at the heart of this midterm election. Now, strategically, it's easy to understand why he's done this. And the reason he's done this is because he has nothing, no wins to celebrate, right? Everything, Joe Biden has had the opposite of the King Midas touch. Everything that he has gotten his hand into is an absolute and total mess and disaster. That is just objectively true. And so there are no wins to celebrate. There's nothing to campaign on. And so the only thing that he can campaign on is this issue of abortion. And that is in light of the Dobbs decision, in which the Supreme Court of the United States rightfully overturned Roe v. Wade. Okay. So I want you to hear some words. I'm going to read this from AP News, and they are talking about what the president has recently said, and then I'll read some quotes from the president himself and just talk about where this leads us. Okay, so this is from AP News. It says this: President Joe Biden promised Tuesday that the first bill he sends to Capitol Hill next year will be one that writes abortion protections into law if Democrats control enough seats in Congress to pass it, as he sought to energize his party's voters just 3 weeks ahead of the November midterms. Twice over, Biden urged people to remember how they felt in late June when the Supreme Court overturned the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling that legalized abortion, fresh evidence of White House efforts to ensure the issue stays in front of mind for Democratic voters this year. Now, here's what Joe Biden said. I want to remind us all how we felt when 50 years of constitutional precedent was overturned. It goes on to say, Biden said in remarks to the Howard Theater, the anger, the worry, the disbelief. All right. And so he's asking for more voters. He's asking that Democrats remain in Congress so that this can get passed. And then he says, if there are enough Democrats in Congress, if we do that, this is his quote, if we do that, here's the promise I make to you and the American people. The first bill that I send to Congress will be to codify Roe v. Wade. And when Congress passes it, I'll sign it in January, 50 years after Roe was first decided the law of the land. So President Joe Biden has said the issue on the ballot during the midterm elections, the issue is abortion. And if there are enough Democrats that remain in Congress, that are elected to Congress, then he will make abortion the law of the land. And abortion, as he's talking about it, is the most radical and violent and evil position that has been held in the history of our country. Because what he is contending for is abortion on demand for no reason up to birth. That's what they want to be legal. Okay? So if you vote for a Democrat, that is what you are voting. Biden himself has made this a single term or a single issue election. And Al Mohler on his podcast, The Briefing, he said it this way. This was on October the 19th, and I totally agree with him. President Biden made clear yesterday that the codification of abortion legislation that goes far beyond Roe v. Wade will be his top priority if Democrats maintain their majority in the Senate and House after the midterm elections. He made clear the moral consequences of the midterm elections will be nothing less than a matter of life and death. Christians, we've been warned. All right, so here's what I want you to know. Our president has made this election a single issue election. If there are enough Democrats in Congress, he will sign a bill that will make abortion the law of the land, abortion on demand without a reason up to the time of birth. Friends, this is infanticide. This is a gross evil, horrific, sinful position. This is abortion robs a human being made in the image of God. It robs them of their life. And abortion is not simply a sin against the child whose life is taken. It is also a sin against the mother who is deceived. And it is a sin against God, who has made both the mother and the unborn child in his image. And this ideology and this administration and this political party is bent on protecting and celebrating the right of mothers to kill their children for any reason up until the time of birth. Friends, that is evil. There's no other word for this. This is evil. This is murder. This is darkness. And so the question is, can a Christian vote for a Democrat? Now, I'm not asking, are they physically able to check the box next to the Democratic candidate? Of course, they are able to do that. The question is this: is a Christian acting consistently when they hold on to a biblical Christian worldview and then give their vote to a candidate and to a platform and to a political party that wants to see more children murdered in our country, that wants it to be considered righteous to end the life of a child in the womb at 38 weeks or 39 weeks? Can you consistently do that? And I know that there's some of you who may think, oh, this is a controversial thing. Friends, this is not controversial. This is very cut and clear and very simple. You cannot do it. You cannot vote for a Democrat and consistently hold to any sort of Christian biblical worldview. You cannot do it. That does not mean that every political thing that the Democratic Party or a candidate may hold to in and of itself is evil. Now, I will say much of it is unquestionably evil, but it doesn't mean that everything is evil, and it doesn't mean that every single candidate buys into these things equally. But the president has made it clear this election is about abortion. If you want women to be able to murder their children, vote Democrat. Those are his words, right? That's what he's saying. And so what I'm telling you as a pastor is not that you have to vote for this conservative or for that conservative. What I am telling you is that I do not see any way in which you can hold on to a biblical worldview and vote for a party that is bent on destroying life in the womb. Guys, you can't do it. It just simply can't be done. And I really think because this administration has been so forthright in making this a single issue and has said this is the consequence of electing Democrats. If you elect Democrats, a bill will be on Biden's desk and he will make this the law of the land. Again, those are his words. And what that means, it's really hard to see how voting Democrat doesn't leave you with blood on your hands, right? I don't see it. So can a Christian act consistently with their biblical convictions and vote for a Democrat, especially in this midterm election? I think the answer has to be a clear, emphatic no. God's word matters. The unborn matter. Righteousness matters. Young mothers matter. Those fathers who have fathered those unborn children, they matter. The word of God matters. You guys, you cannot consistently vote Democrat and hold on to your Christian worldview. All right. I usually say I hope that was helpful. And so I guess I do hope that was helpful in clarifying to you. If you've got questions, you can always let me know. Until next time, take care and be wise. All right. See ya.